Nighttime erections are a discrete rehearsal. Blood needs to arrive just fast enough, leave just slowly enough, nerves must signal on time, and hormones must permit the performance to start when it should. Every improvement you make for cardiovascular health flows into this. Every layer of deep sleep you build lays the flooring so the night stumbles less. Every load you take off the waistline returns some breathing room to testosterone. Give your body 14 nights as a short training block, a decisive walk each afternoon, resistance training with fewer reps, but enough weight that your muscles must answer, dinner an hour earlier, a bedroom dark as a velvet pouch, worries waiting outside the door. The first nights may not change much. By the 7th or 10th, you'll feel the familiar score tapping back in. Not loud, but true. No one sets out to ruin their night. But a drink too close to bedtime, eyes glued to a screen too late, dinner too late, a body sitting too long, these link together like thin cords pulling in the same direction. The body doesn't demand absolute loyalty. It asks for priority at a few moments, one decision to subtract, one decision to add. You can start so small that others won't notice, but your body notices, because it's the only one living through your nights. If tomorrow morning you knew for certain you wouldn't have to bolt up in the night, what would you drop tonight and what would you add? Don't answer with a slogan. Answer with one action you can take the moment this video ends. Because what's about to happen isn't a miracle, it's a new inertia. When you give 7 nights to habits that support morning erections, the body responds like a child who stops crying when held correctly. And once it's calm, the rest, confidence, desire, closeness, will line up to return. From labs in the 1970s to modern hospitals, people have measured something simple. Nocturnal erections show up across all ages of healthy men. The count and duration of peaks don't vanish just because there are more candles on the cake. What declines is blood flow amplitude, and even that is ample, provided your day isn't working against your night. The data isn't here to scare you, but to end your self-doubt. It says you're not broken, you're just off tempo, and tempo can be tuned. A resilient man isn't the strongest in the gym. He's the one who stops at the right time and starts on schedule. You can build a small frame, wake with real light, make your first meal protein sufficient so blood sugar stops clamoring, move after your main meal so blood doesn't thicken, do resistance training 2 or 3 sessions so your body remembers. It still works with muscle. Make your bed like preparing a quiet sanctuary for the night. Ask yourself each evening, did I do one thing today that supports my night? If yes, mark it. Not to show off, but so you don't forget tomorrow. There isn't one remedy for all. There isn't one how many times per night that's right for every household. Not every dimming deserves the label disorder. The body hates extremes and prefers consistency. If you've let online slogans lead you astray, then starting tonight, return truth to the kitchen, the bed, and your shoes. The truth is, small behaviors repeated long enough will beat any trick. From here, we'll move through each concrete milestone as in the clinic, which signs call for early testing, how to read morning results without panic, how to structure a week of training so both cardiovascular and endocrine systems benefit, how to set sleep so REM has room to return. I'll ask you a few questions along the way to see if I'm striking the right note, and you only need to answer with a letter or a number. We won't rush, but we won't stand still either, because tomorrow night begins with tonight's decision, and morning erections, like self-respect, favor those who keep their promises to themselves. To conclude, we're not asking the body for a metamorphosis, only for one quiet night and a morning with fewer sighs. Tonight, do 2 very small things. Drop one habit that's pulling your night down and add one habit that lifts it up. Drink a glass of water with that decision. Mark a small tick on your 14-night map, then let your body answer in place of any promise. If this content has made things less confusing, leave a 1. If there's still a snag anywhere, leave a 0 and the word stuck. I'll read it so I can speak more precisely next time. Subscribe to get the printable plan in the next video, a 1-week schedule, how to read the morning signals, and safe stopping points so you don't overdo it. Gentle but steady, because health after 60 doesn't need cheerleaders, only your patience with yourself. I'll borrow a line for you to keep in your pocket. We are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act but a habit. Tonight, choose one kind habit. As for the rest, I'll remind you to keep the rhythm, so each morning returns like a calm greeting from your body. What if a single morning signal decided the health of your blood vessels? What if not having morning wood were the earliest warning before erectile dysfunction knocks on the door? What if what's making you exhausted isn't age, but a small habit repeated every night? I understand that feeling, glancing at the clock at 3 a.m., turning over for the third time, waking with a heavy head, and asking yourself, when did I drift off my health map? Here, we don't blame or scare. We simply cut the noise and slowly reconnect an old signal line of the body, morning erections as a living biomarker, telling us what your blood vessels, hormones, and nerves are saying. If you want to walk this whole journey clearly, subscribe so the next parts arrive right when you need them. And so I know whether I'm hitting your real problem, leave a comment. 1 if this is helpful, 0 if not, just a single digit, no pressure, but a signal for me to fine-tune the content to fit you better. We'll start the way I do in the clinic. Why men have morning erections, what counts as normal at each age, when to be concerned, and what you can do tonight to bring this rhythm back. No miracles. Just small actions, steady enough to make a difference. If you're ready, let's continue. Open the lid on that familiar box called REM sleep and listen as the body explains why morning is sometimes the night's most honest truth. Do you remember the feeling of the blanket lifting gently like a soft wave at dawn? It's not fantasy, nor is it luck. That's REM rhythm passing through the brain like a conductor, subtly bringing blood vessels, nerves, and hormones into the same melody. Morning erections aren't a youthful habit, but a persistent physiological signal of a healthy man at any age. In adolescence, that wave rises higher and lasts longer, occupying nearly half the night's score. Later on, the amplitude settles, but the rhythm remains. Several times a night, each long enough for the body to remember how to pump blood, hold oxygen, and nourish tissue. If you've encountered that wave less often lately, don't rush to blame yourself. See it as a sealed letter your body sent you, reminding you to reopen the health map you folded away too quickly. And we will open it, crease by crease, to see what remains, what's missing, and what needs only a slight adjustment to be different. Normal isn't a hard number, it's a safe range. An adult's night still contains peaks of erection lasting about half an hour, recurring 3 or 4 times, like windows opening to let blood flow smoothly and the erectile tissue practice breathing. Age may lower the height of the waves, but it doesn't erase them from the lake's surface. What confuses you isn't usually that gentle reduction, but entire weeks of complete absence or sudden changes paired with fatigue, lowered desire, and softer daytime quality. In those moments, the body is knocking with reason rather than noise, and that reasoning is fair. Check your hormones, review your daily rhythm, and give your cardiovascular system a chance to clear its path. First, when for many weeks you no longer have morning erections without a clear cause. Second, when by day you find yourself slowing where you used to be quick, hesitant where you used to be confident. Third, when shallow sleep and stress blend everything into a dull, opaque fatigue. Those signals rarely travel alone. They like to move together like an uninvited party. And we don't throw guests out, we seat them where they belong. A morning testosterone test to see whether your endocrine baseline still has rhythm, rechecking weight and waist circumference to understand metabolism, looking closely at movement habits and light exposure to return your body clock to time. You may have forgotten small things like walking after dinner, shutting screens a little earlier, or lifting weights to the point your body can feel it, not to the point an app can count it. These acts aren't loud, but they are persistent.